I know in some of our pre-talks, you mentioned that there was one key place that as emerging and established entrepreneurs that we need to start from in order to create. Hi, and thank you for joining us today on the Road to Recovery. I'm Ronda Jackson, your host, serial entrepreneur and small business advocate. And today's guest, the CEO of Sampson Coaching and Consulting, Ms. Bridgette Sampson. Thank you for joining us, Bridgette.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Ronda. I'm really excited to chat with you.
No, thank you. So for those that aren't as familiar with you, you and I are on boards together. We share similar interests. We're both parents. Share a little bit more about you and Sampson Coaching and Consulting.
Yeah, so I'm a certified executive coach and a trainer. So I do a lot of coaching for folks in these challenging times where there's so much change. We work through whatever they're struggling with. We have lots of tools and great resources to help people through difficult times. And I do a lot of training and speaking as well.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And you are the most, I will say, yeah, I'm going to call you an expert. I wanted to call you a guru, but that sounds a little bit too woo-woo because no, you offer practical knowledge. And I think where we are in the world today, I mean, there's always going to be challenging times. I mean, there's housing crises, there's, gas shortages and this and supply shortage, there's always going to be something. So if you were to describe now, like one of the ways I like to start the show is to ask the guest for one word that they would use to describe now. What would your one word be?
Well, the one word I want to use is adaptability. That describes the biggest skill we need. Is that right now, adaptability is key because of the constant changing environments that we all find ourselves in.
Oh, no, that is a beautiful word. Okay. So adaptability really fits with our discussion today because we wanted to talk about the resiliency that you need to navigate times like this. And I know in some of our pre-talks, you mentioned that there was one key place that as emerging and established entrepreneurs that we need to start from in order to create achievable goals. Where would that place be?
I would say we need to start with prioritizing.
Okay. All right.
So Rhonda, people like you who are very much in demand, I have no doubt that every day people are asking you to be on their committee and on their board and to do this project for them. And we have to be able to say no, especially as women, to be able to say no and to really prioritize what matters most to us, to create and construct these pillars in our lives, no more than, I would say 2 or 3 personally, 2 or 3 professionally, that really serve as the foundation and a decision-making filter for what we're going to take on and what we're going to, I'll just say, set aside for the moment. It can be very hard for us to say, I'm letting this go completely, but to say, this is not one of the things I'm going to prioritize right now. So I think step 1 is prioritizing.
I like that. And as a business owner, and especially as a, type A overachiever business owner, you want that type of structure. So I can see how that would help someone like really vet, that grocery list of things that they'd like to accomplish in upcoming years. So thank you for that. So then once we've decided what those priorities are, whether it's, business, whether it's, having a family or growing our family or, some of those choices that we have to make, then what do we need to do?
I think then we need to get specific about what outcomes we're looking for in a given time period, right? And set SMART goals, specific, measurable, action-oriented, relevant, and time-bound. What is it that you want to accomplish within those pillars? Is it doubling your revenue this year? Is it adding 5 new clients to your portfolio? Is it taking on a new marketing or beginning a new marketing strategy? Is it hiring a new staff member? What are the specific outcomes within those priorities that you are going to set your goals around?
Okay. So let me stay with you for 1 second because I automatically threw away half of my list once you said the first thing. So when you said prioritize, I was narrowing down to like one thing, like, let me just do this. But what I'm hearing you say though, with what the outcomes are, it sounds like now we have a little bit of checks and balances where our priority and our desired outcome have to match. So if one of my priorities is take an international trip, but my outcome is I'd like to earn more revenue. I'm going to have to
Mhm.
shift or balance out, what I've decided are my priorities for the goal setting for the year. Am I
That's right.
understanding that correctly?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, then you're left. This is why I love coaching, because it takes a while to kind of talk things through and sift through the different options, because you may discover through talking it through that international trip could help you double your revenue, right?
Okay.
If you're
Yes.
creative about who you're going to be meeting with while you're there, what kinds of projects you're going to be working on in your working time there, just making sure that it's all aligned. Absolutely.
I like that. I like that. Okay. So then we've established our priorities. We've gotten, the outcomes clear in our
Mhm.
mind. It sounds like just in the conversations that we've had, and I'm glad that you gave me the opportunity of kind of pre-talking this out with you, that there is one obstacle that we always seem to forget about when we're doing this goal setting. Because I think after the first two steps, I would have just charged forward and been like, okay, I know what I got to do.
Yes. Right. So you're talking about action, right? So
Yes.
how do we actually determine the action steps? And
Yes.
usually, realistically, a goal usually requires multiple action steps, right? So we have to figure out what are those action steps. We have to make sure they're sequenced properly and that we have deadlines around them and that they're timed well, and that if we need to partner with others and get support, that's planned out. But I think that your audience is really smart, right, and accomplished. These are emerging and established business owners, entrepreneurs. And so I think we often know what the actions are. Like, I know how many marketing calls and what marketing efforts I would need to make to grow or scale my business to a certain extent, or what kind of staff I need to add. What we really want to look at is making sure that the action steps we've determined are supported by our mindset and our thinking.
Mm.
Because if I have this beautiful list of action steps, but in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I'll never get it all done, or it's too much, or, oh, I tried something like that last year and it didn't work, then I'm probably not going to take those actions, or I'm going to take them half-heartedly. And to share a model with people that I have found incredibly life-changing and use in my coaching all the time, it's basically cognitive behavioral therapy, which says that our thoughts create our feelings and our feelings drive our actions. So
Okay.
if we're only looking at the action step arena, we're missing a huge piece of the puzzle of motivation and what gets us to actually do what we need to do.
Okay.
So my thoughts need to be thoughts around how I'm capable of taking these actions, how this is going to work. I believe in myself. I'll get the support I need, and then that drives feelings of engagement and energy and feeling positive and feeling optimistic. And then that will drive me to take that action.
Get
Because
it
the
going.
truth is, Rhonda, and everybody knows that sometimes when it comes to taking the action, the motivation isn't there.
Yeah. Well, I think we feel obligated sometimes as business owners that I have to have goals. I have to have a strategy. I have to have a
Mm-hmm.
plan. And then I
Mm-hmm.
think because I've said the word I about 5 times, my brain is already going, no, we don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Your bed looks awfully comfy over there.
Exactly. But I'm tired, but it's all too
Yes.
much.
So,
Exactly.
and I like that you've emphasized that a few times in the conversation, that we should really look at where those outside resources are. So whether that's
Yes.
an assistant, whether
Yes.
that's a service or a paid service, like, an attorney, an accountant, a
Yes.
bookkeeper, to actually
Yes.
look at those action items, not as even things that we personally have to accomplish,
Right.
but that we can
Right.
garner the support to still help us achieve our goal, but not necessarily us having to actually physically do the labor or the task at hand. So
Exactly.
yeah, that's
Exactly.
beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Simple example was I decided recently that I wanted to take all these little promo videos and put them in a playlist on a YouTube channel.
Okay.
Right. And it was like, I know this action will get more visibility and we have this audience that's there ready for it. But it was like, it seemed like this huge task.
Yes.
And I ended up, but I had the thought in the mindset that I'm going to do this. I want to do this. I know it's a good idea. And I ended up being able to have a VA do pretty much all of the work.
Nice.
And
Yes.
it was
Okay.
easy,
Exactly
right?
like
So
that.
it's
Yes.
it's a matter of determining what is the action step, being the creative thinking about all of the different ways there are to get
To get
that
it done.
done,
Mhm.
right? But also really making sure that you're believing in your thinking that it is possible, that you can do it, and generating that energy around it.
And then are you a pro affirmation, or is that too formal, too woo woo, or how does that?
Well, tell me what you mean by that. I think that,
So, you know, I know that people like to use words just based on our conversation. People
yes.
like to use words like manifesting and laws of attraction, which I am a firm believer. I think that energy and vibration and all of that is
Yes.
related. And I'm just asking if this is similar to, or is this a
Yes.
whole different realm?
I believe it is similar. I am a fan of all
Okay.
of the above, all of what you
Okay.
just mentioned, but I think it has to be tied to action.
Got
I'm
it.
not a believer in just the thinking and just the setting the intention and then leaving it.
Got
That's
it.
why I love tying it to science and cognitive behavioral therapy, which says you've got to have the mindset and the thinking, and that drives the feelings, and then that drives the action. You've got to have
Yes.
the action piece. So I am a fan of that. And I do believe we're more likely to manifest things if we stay in the right mental space and emotional space.
Right.
And then that leads us to take the action we need to take.
And then that it will hopefully give us the outcomes that we were
Exactly.
intending and hoping for. Okay,
Exactly.
so if someone would like to have deeper conversations like this with you, is there
Yeah.
a best way to connect with you? Or and we'll definitely include all of your information down below in the description box. And ladies and gentlemen, you know where that is. It's right below that subscribe button. So if you haven't done so already, please be sure and click subscribe for more information like this and guests like Bridgette. So Bridgette, the best way to connect with you would be
Just through my website. It's Sampson with a P, coachingandconsulting.com. SampsonCoachingandConsulting.com. Super easy. And I've got lots there, more podcast episodes and book chapters and all kinds of fun resources.
Oh, beautiful. So we'll include that in the description box below. And then to make this, again, the show Road to Recovery is about emerging on established entrepreneurs being actionable and being intentional. So what's one thing you would recommend all of us to do today? What would that one thing be?
Get coaching, talking things through, looking at all your options, really emptying out your mind and having someone reflect it back to you can open up new ways of looking at things, new possibilities. Get coaching, whether you pay for it or not. There's somebody out there who can help you talk through things in a way that will completely open your mind and open up all the possibilities for you.
No, similar to this whole conversation, just the time that you and I've spent together, it's been mind opening. So I appreciate you. And thank you again for being here. We hope to invite you back as a guest. This has been very wonderful. So once we have our goals and our intention, we'll hope to hear what that further conversation looks like if you'll accept that invitation and come back.
Absolutely. I would love to come back anytime. I love chatting with you, Rhonda. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for being here.